Here are 5 of the many things that are worth knowing about Geoffrey Chaucer. Number 1. Writing was not Chaucer's profession. In fact, he was a courtier, a civil servant and a diplomat. He spent some time as a soldier and later became a member of Parliament. His literary career was clearly a sideline. There are a lot of references to him from his own lifetime, but very few describe him as a writer. In fact, we know relatively little about his patrons, his early readers, and what prompted him to devote so much time in an already busy life to writing. Number 2. Chaucer was better known for his writing style than for his stories. We think of Chaucer as a great storyteller, bringing the medieval world to life in the sublime and ridiculous stories of the Canterbury Tales. But that doesn't seem to be why his early readers thought he was important. In the century or so after his death, Chaucer seems to have primarily been celebrated for the way he wrote, not what he wrote. Chaucer's writing style was one of his major innovations. His English is very unlike everyday speech. It's a specialised poetic English. It's full of loanwords from more prestigious languages like French and Latin. Number 3. The Canterbury Tales were never finished. We think of the Canterbury Tales as Chaucer's greatest work, and this is particularly remarkable because it's completely unfinished. When Chaucer died in 1400, it was still a work in progress. Early scribes tried as best as they might to cover over the gaps and to shape what Chaucer had written into something coherent and readable. Sometimes they took drastic measures. Many early manuscripts of the Canterbury Tales feature gap fillers, stories by other authors that were placed into Chaucer's work wholesale. And it wouldn't be going too far to call this a sort of medieval fan fiction. Number 4. Chaucer was unusual in being influenced by Italian writing. Like other educated people in medieval England, Chaucer read a lot of French literature. But Chaucer is unusual in also engaging with some of the great works of Italian literature in this period. This was some of the most innovative and important writing in late medieval Europe. Chaucer read Dante, Petrarch, Boccaccio, and drew heavily on their writings as sources for his own works and as models for writing in the vernacular. Number 5. Many of Chaucer's works are translations. An early poem in praise of Chaucer's writing describes him as a great translator. And this is pretty accurate. Many of Chaucer's greatest works are based on sources in French or Italian. He didn't actually write that many works that we would consider completely original. But translator still might seem a bit like faint praise to us. We don't think of translating as a high art form, but in the Middle Ages, literary translation was often considered a highly creative process. Chaucer often radically reinterprets his sources, and Chaucer's translations also draw the riches of medieval writing in other European languages into the English tradition.